It's about time I talk about the Umbrella Academy. 2 months too late. Let's talk about season 4. Yeah, I've seen it. I have seen the first three seasons 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, we are in 2024. I've seen the first three seasons around Christmas time 2 years ago. So it's not exactly 2 years ago, but almost. And I will say, I enjoyed season 1. I wasn't a fan of season 2, and season 3 was really bad. I am glad the show got slightly better with season 4. Slightly, it's because it's the same as season 1. It's not better than season 1, in my books at least. I am multi-topic talk. I talk too much about video games and movies and TV shows. And let's cover season 4, 2 months too late. This season was sold as being the final season, the final timeline. It's about time. When you only got first season as a banger, it's about time you end the show. And it's Netflix, so if you don't properly end the show, you most likely will get a show that ends on a cliffhanger and get canceled, and you don't get to see how everything ends. So I am glad we got season 4. So season 4 picks up right after 3. It's logic, right? But yeah, here we will get a more scripted part of this video because I took some notes and I want to share these with all of you. So yeah. So now we are into episode 1. I admit the guy breaking people glass was entertaining, so a lot of characters were entertaining, and the humor made me smile a few times. The music was well chosen, Klaus was entertaining, and I think most of the characters were very fun. It felt like season 1 of the show all over again, and it felt kind of great. Um, that was a return to form because I feel like season 2 and 3 were massive letdown if you compare these two past seasons like season 1. I was hooked and entertained by this first episode in the final season, and I was kind of hyped for the rest of the season. Now, I will admit, I had two issues, and they don't really get fixed. I was hoping they would get fixed as the season went on. They didn't. My first issue would be why would people want to destroy the world? Well, they feel like it's unfair. They feel like they want a true world. Okay, whatever. There was a serious lack of development. They were just bad guys because bad guys. They were just like, yeah, we just want to end the world because this is what we do. Cool, great. Fourth time. Amazing. Um, Now, the second issue fall in line with that. It's for a fourth time another scenario about stopping the end of the world. Again! Are you kidding me? Really? When you don't have idea, just tell us instead of wasting our time with a like 40 plus hour show. Now we are already into episode 2 because I don't have a lot more to say about the first episode. Episode 2 was a bit worse than 1 because I will admit the first episode was a 9.5 out of 10 from me. Now, episode 2, it's another deal. I had more issues with it. Bad attempt at jokes. The car scene with everyone puking wasn't funny. They overplayed that shit. That was terrible to witness. The second issue, the restaurant scene, tried to be funny when it wasn't, and the dialogue and delivery didn't feel well made. It didn't feel like characters talking, it felt like answered from writers. Number three, crazy plot armor on everyone, forcing every shooter to miss all thousands of bullets. Um, these are my issues with the second episode. As much as the action was cool and fun, I thought that was a weaker episode. There's still a few things to admit I enjoyed because again that episode wasn't bad by any means. It was just worse than the first one. So I will say that it was well shown how the cast got their power back. The show was really good at showing stuff, you know? This is what you do as a TV show. Be competent at showing stuff. I will praise them on that. It's a really good aspect to this TV show. I admit the rescue mission joke was great. The bad music car sequence with the family was cool. The action was entertaining. Diego and Lila blowing up everyone was very fun. And this kind of closes off episode 2 because I don't have a lot more to say about that episode either. Episode 2 for me deserves a solid 9 out of 10. So far we got episode 1 with a 9.5, episode 2 with a 9. We are already half done with this final season of the show. That's the shortest season in the series. And I understand it. I like that. I think that's one of the strengths this season had. It was very short and sweet, as they call it. My first issue with the third episode, the weird squid interview tried hard to be funny when it wasn't. Pacing was bad, repeating until we already got about stuff. I feel like they really wanted to hit that 1 hour mark episode ish. I think every episode was like 1 hour long. Maybe I might be wrong. I've seen that season like a month ago now. Actually, 2 months ago because I did see it right away when it came out. I sound overly negative, but I'm not because I thought that episode was solid. The siblings talk was very entertaining. Five was cool. Klaus was entertaining. The house scene was fun. The music was cool. The action was fun. So I was entertained. Really, this season, as much as it had sins and it did a few missteps, I thought they were solid. I felt like season 2 and 3 days were over by watching this fourth season. Um, yeah, I was hooked. I could not stop watching episodes after episode, and this third episode for me was a solid 9.5 out of 10, making it better than 2. And I will be honest, I can't remember if I preferred 1 or 3 more. I think once we get into my notes for later, I will remember. I will be like, oh, this is what I thought. The multi is hidden. We are now at episode number 4. Um, Ben and Jennifer bounding was probably the highlight of that episode and one of my favorite thing I thought of. Now, my issues with this episode were tired plot. Let's stop the end of the world for a fourth time. More scenes with the villains, yet we don't know much more about them and why they are the bad guys. And I might be wrong, I might misremember, but I don't think they fleshed them out that much, even later by the end of the season. Maybe they will show up again in my notes, but I think they were kind of piss poor. They were just like the opposition to the leads, and it's how they felt. Um, they don't feel like character; they feel like plot device. Now again, I thought that episode was very entertaining. I had a lot more positive and stuff I enjoyed. The opening sequence was entertaining, the mission was fun. The reveal of Ben's death was sad and well made. The lore with Marigold and the mother being responsible was fun. Victor's speech about his deconstruction was cool. Klaus was fun, I admit. It was funny to see Diego wearing glasses of a dead person. That start. Rolex joke was funny, the client coming back, the sound effect and action were great. So based on the notes, I'd suspect this episode is probably my favorite thus far. With a 9.5 out of 10, it's well deserved. As I read through my notes, I just realized I felt back then, 2 months ago, that the show got better as the season kept going. Because now it's my favorite episode thus far, in that season at least. I only had one issue. People were not able to aim at Victor, plot armor. That's bullshit. So, yeah, outside of that, episode 5, based on what I read right now, was really solid. It was fun to enjoy. Um, it was well shown how time has passed. The fight over the music in the car was cool. The ego was hilarious. I think the ego was probably one of the best part of this show since the start. I think Diego was always the best one. He is so cool. I'm pro Diego, I swear. Um so yeah, Luther being smarter than Diego felt great. For once the dumb is smart. Lila rewind. Lila and 5 taking a break made sense. A lesson was entertaining. Diego and the divorced guy were entertaining. Lila and 5 romance being born was cool. Luther was funny. Luther breaking stuff and getting caught was funny. The reveal of the CIA working for the Clintons was cool. Civil War reference was great. Diego and Luther fighting their way in the basement was great. Probably the best action sequence the show had, and this was off script. Action was great. 5. And Lila relationship breaking part made sense. The new Argreave accepting and acknowledging Victor felt great. Victor believing there's a chance for Ben was cool. Argreave thinking there's no chance for Ben was a nice parallel, and it shows that the guy had no fate. Whatever the timeline, he had no fate. That's Victor Argreaves, or Rewind. That's Mr. Argreaves in every timeline. So yeah, episode 5 for me was a solid and well-deserved 9.7. So, coming into the final episode of that final season, I was worried. I was like, how will they close off everything? I feel like sometimes they do waste time with these episodes, and I was worried that they would waste time and we would have a underwhelming ending. But I was wrong because the ending delivered. We are finally in the finale. Hell yeah, I'm proud of that one. Um, so the ending. I only had one issue with the final episode. I thought that was a very stupid fight between Five and Diego. It didn't make any sense. They'd fight each other over during the apocalypse. That was goddamn stupid. It felt like a waste of my time. Really, I hated this shit. Once the fight was over, finally, it felt good. Um, yeah, I hated this shit. Anyway, outside of that, I think the ending was perfect. It it delivered. It was emotional. I felt something. I was like, man, this show did something. It was entertaining. The new Argreaves asking Victor um take was cool. The ego was great. Dean being weird was entertaining. Lila was entertaining, funny Argive thing. 5 was hilarious. The family moment was great. Or they say their goodbyes because they realize they need to sacrifice themselves to save everyone. And they need to like send them in the train or whatever. The action and music were great. The music was cool. 5 in the subway was cool. 5 meeting other 5s, realizing, oh damn, we lose. We are the fluke. We are the mistake. The ultimate sacrifice was emotional. I did tear up there, I admit. Anderson last word to Claire was amazing. Lila's sacrifice was the biggest. The Umbrella Academy powering up to get eaten by the clans was great. The new family spending time together was a good closure and a perfect ending. Hargreave accepting he was wrong felt like growth. It's about time. Fourth season of us like wondering will he ever get it. Now, hi there. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, and you?
I'm doing great. Now we are here to talk about the Umbrella Academy. Now, um, we did talk a bit backstage about the show in DMs and all, and you have a very different perspective than me and Cole on earlier seasons. So before we get into season 4 stuff, I want to hear your thoughts on the first 3 seasons. What did you think of the show up to that point?
Okay, so it's a big question to answer. First of all, the 3 4 season go back a few year ago, so my memory is not good as that. But I try to my best to give you my opinion about all the season. The American Idol, first of all, the first season for me was a unique concept for Netflix to put on the on see his work. It worked very well for the first season. I think it's the best season of all 4 season. The season with the more I think more the creativity
The
and
most creativity.
yeah, the most creativity. And after that, each season have less and less creativity and less care.
Ideas.
Less care about Netflix. Netflix. I have in my mind. I think Netflix not like this series as much and the public. And after after each season, Netflix is like, okay, I'll do a next season, but I'm not sure I will go next. But it try, and the last season, the best example of all that, we can see that Netflix lost interest about this show and just gave up for ultimate season just for the fan and nothing else. So it's pretty sad for that. But the first one is very great. The concept we follow a bunch of kid named the Umbrella Academy with a different unique ability. Try to have a life after be a superhero when you are young. Each character is unique character. Picture life. My favorite is 5. Is a young kid. You have the power to teleport. And when they start the series, he back time and he become an old version in a young body. So I like this concept. And for for the purpose of the one season, all character work. And the character of Elliot Page, she's the more interesting in the first season. She's the more mysterious character. In the first one, we see she had enough power, but in the end, she's the most powerful. I like this twist. For the second season, I think it's great either. I like the concept of travel time. Is one of my favorite genre in the cinema. And for the second season, you work with that concept. For me, that worked great with many temporality, like when the 1963 when the GFK was killed. The For the context, I think is interesting to follow, and all character evolved in a good way. We see more of the ability. like I said, chaque character have a unique ability, but in the first season we see the ability, but not often as we want to see. After all, it's a superhero TV show, but and overall we do not see much as a superpower and want to see. And the two season we go much further with that. Is I like that for that. And the one in the third season arrived for me is the moment that Netflix try start to give up about this show. I have a feeling that this third season are not at the creativity and the goodwill of the Netflix for this execution. As I'm a bit sad for that, but the ending of the third season I pretty much like. Is like the it's like the doomsday, the end of the world, and all the members need to work together to stop that. I like this premise, and I like then the Urban Gilly has to confront with another group, the Spyro Academy, like a better version of himself and the alternate reality. So for that, I like this competition. But the Spyro Academy not serve for the purpose of the narration. Is a weak point for me. And the third season, I think, is a missed opportunity to give more confrontation and between these two group. But overall, for the third season, is a bit disappointing for me. Many concept work, but too much not work, and we will feel that Netflix start to give up. And for the last season is the subject today. I want to hear your opinion about that. But for me, is okay for the ending. But I feel that this season exists just for not canceling this show before you give him an ending, because so many follow this show. Netflix decide to give to the public a proper ending, and for that I appreciate, because so many times Netflix just give up this show and not giving up. Giving to the public a proper ending. For that is a good point. But for the all this first season, I think the narration is weak at most. Many decision for me is weird, like the romance about Five and another character. And for me the character is at the worst evolution in each season is the character played by Tom Hopper, the number one. In the first two seasons, he's like a good evolution, but in start the three season, he can become like a comic relief, weak comic relief. And the first season, he go deep in that. He just try to be funny. He not evolution for himself. It's pretty sad to see. And yeah, overall. Overall, this first season is disappointing for me. It's not bad. So I read many criticism say that this first season no need to be existed. I disagree with that. I think we need a proper ending for this show, because this is a great show in the start, and I'm a fan of the Hamburger. So I'm happy to see an ending. But yeah, I think it can be better than that. Especially that this final season have just 6 episodes is a bit short to give up a satisfying ending. But yeah,
Satisfying.
satisfying ending. I'm curious, what do you think about that?
I liked it. I wasn't a fan of season 2 and 3. I thought the show was in a very slow decline. I thought season 1 was solid, season 2 was average, and season 3 I liked some aspect of it, but I thought that one was bad. And coming into season 4, I was like, finally, it's the last season. They put down the dog, as they call it,
Yeah, exactly. Good
and
image.
the suffering is no longer there. And I was surprised. I liked the fact that we only had 6 episodes. I don't see the season being any longer and feeling justified. Um, I say that because I think the pacing of that season is probably the best among the seasons we got. Maybe not one. One actually had somewhat decent pacing based on what I remember. I did see it like 2 years ago, so I'm rusty on that. But um, I think season four was some kind of return to form. Uh, yes, that's another end of the world, and I was kind of bothered by it. But this time around, it does happen. The world ends, and this is how the show ends. And I thought the ending of the show itself was perfect. I felt a lot of things watching the final episode, and I was really worried because I was like, we got 5 episodes, and I feel like we needed more, but then I see six. I'm like, no, we don't need more. They had that perfect um, pacing. Maybe episode six was a bit rushed, but even there, I don't feel like we had enough content for a seventh episode. Um, I might be wrong on that, but I think this season is probably on par with season one in my books. Um, Now, unfortunately, I'm too rusty to remember season one, so I don't know which one I would place above the other. But knowing how the show went after, I think it's a blessing what we got.
uh,
So
I,
yeah,
c- I can understand this, many points you say, but I don't agree with you that the first season is technically the second best season of the of the show. For me, you have too many flaw in the season. First of all, it's a superhero TV show. And in this first season, all Umbrella Academy character have a new ability, but in the story, this new ability not used often. Is like the character, Klaus. You can see that, but in the season four, he can fly. He used that thing for one moment in the end in the movie and then in the TV show, and it was like, hey, that's a nice ability, but why just there? Well, like the number seven, played by Elliot Page, she can use the power differently. She used like for
E. That's he is trans actually. I don't
yeah.
know if you were aware, but yeah, that's E.
Elliot Page. Before that, she was Ellen Page. Now she Elliot Page. I'm a fan of this actress. I know the story about him. But yeah, in this character in the season four, the poor change, but you not see that very clearly. That for each character. So for a superhero TV show and the season four, I don't see that is a very great superhero TV show. Yeah, you have action, you have some moment with the different ability, neither twist. But in the end, it's not a great entertainment for that. It's a okay ending, and the ultimate scene when the narration say, I think you say August 24, this day nothing happening. It was
Nothing happened.
and the tapping is the beautiful day or something like that, and you see a park with many character from the show, and in the end you see a seven flower and close. I like this ending. It's like, okay, we're in peace now. Is finished. The hero give the ultimate sacrifice. That a good example for a superhero show. But the execution to the one episode to the sixth, the finale for me is not working great. The pacing is too slow, and when it's too chaotic for other moment, like when the sub story with five and this romance and another timeline. For me, it's not needed for the narration of the overall of the all the evolution of this fourth season. But other than that, yeah, I don't think it's a bad season. It's like the third. You have many flaw, many problem, but you have quality, and it's a pleasure to see again this character. It's funny to follow the. Sorry, I have a problem in
A cold.
call yet, but yeah, and for me, number five is to was great to follow. Aden Gallagher is the actor I want to follow now for other project. I like him very well, very much in the all four season. But for me, this season four not the answer. That the last point I want to say, the for me the first season not answer all the question you have for the first season to this season, like with Reginald Hargrave is an alien from another planet, and you have a circular experience, and we have can some answer, but not all answer. You need to understand all the plot. For me, it's kind of another big weak point of this fourth season.
That's understandable. Do you want to add more on the topic?
Um, no, but I want to say, one thing I want to say that Balcony is first of all is a comic book, and the comic book is like a 10 tome. So
10 volumes.
10 volume, yeah. You have like 10 volume, and if you cut too early, the story would just not use all the story the comic have for this show. And like I said, the third season, the first season at the same point for that, the creativity not there. I have the feeling that after this point, the creator of the show not use the original material to create the narration. For me, is not working. But I want to say, go to see the comic. It's a very great independent comic. I see the first volume is that what a unique experience to read, and I want to read the other, but it costs to buy the other. So one at a time, I want to be I want to have all the tome and read all of them. But for the superhero genre, Durable Kearney, it pretty unique and its own way.
Yeah, I could see it with the powers and how everything happened. Do you want to add more?
No, no, I say all I want to say about that. So yeah, maybe you have maybe something to add.
Not that much. Well, I will ask you this. What would be your grade out of 10 for season 4?
Great question. I want to say maybe I would be generous for that, and I give him a 6 of the 10. Like I say, it's not a bad season like criticism all say. For me, it's okay. I'm happy to see this final. So for me, it's a 6 of 10. But yeah, the execution and the pacing and the evolution of character all work very very weak, and the but overall, it's funny to see. It's funny to follow again the Rebel Academy. And you?
Mine was a 9, just like season 1.
Damn, man, you are generous about that.
Season 2 was a 7 and season 3 was a 5. I despise season 5, season 3. um but yeah, the entire show, what would be your grade out of 10?
Uh, for the entire show,
Yeah, all 4 seasons together.
for a Sparrow TV show about 4 season, I think I give him maybe a 8.5 of 10 for the overall, maybe a 8. Because when after the one season, we can feel that the creativity is slow back in a bad way. And the third season is the great example that Netflix just don't care anymore about this show. But for the two first season, and maybe some element of the fourth season and maybe the final the three season. I think overall it deserve at least 8 of them.
Okay, very interesting. Now, I ask you this. I didn't really think of my own answer on that one. I think I'm right in between a 7 and an 8, so I'm tempted to give a 7.5. And it's mainly because season 1 and 4 carried the show, because I feel so generous with season 2 and 3. Um, there are weak points in my books.
Uh,
Anyway, except if you'd like to add more, I think we are out.
no, we are.
Okay. So we are in that part where it's the final nail on the coffin, the final review, the ending of the Umbrella Academy. Now, of course, I will talk to someone else about this show, because I he has a different perspective, and I don't want to sound like an echo chamber. Hopefully, you guys and girls will understand what you will have to say. Um, but yeah, I will clip him at some point here, either as the ending, or right now before I go on with the ending. I don't know what the editing room will look like. So based on my notes, here is the ranking of all 6 episodes we had this season. Unfortunately, season 1, 2, and 3 are too far behind. I can't remember these seasons. All I remember is the final score in the end, so yeah. Ranking of the episode in the final season. In first place, we got episode 5, my favorite this season, with a 9.7 out of 10. Followed by episode 6 in second place, with a 9.7 out of 10. The perfect ending, as I call it. In third place, we got the first episode with a 9.5 out of 10. In fourth place, we got the fourth episode with a 9.5 out of 10. In fifth place, we got episode 3 with a 9.5 out of 10. And lastly, the worst episode this season was episode 2 with a 9 out of 10. So for me, that season was a banger. Like, if you just take individual episode this way, you're just like, oh, that's a masterpiece. That's a great stuff. But when you really look at the bigger picture, it's not as great as each single individual episode, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the case. There are my issues with the entire season. Same plot as the first 3 seasons, making the show turning tired, running tired. I don't know how to call that. The villains were weak and underdeveloped. All we know is that they influence people, which is cool as the power, but we don't really get to see and understand why would they go this far to destroy the world. The humor and dialogue weren't always on point. The characters were likable, the season was entertaining, every episode mattered, and the pacing felt better than past season. I say that even if the season is far, like, I think 6 episode is always what that kind of show could do. Sometimes they just stretch it because they got the money to make like 8 episode, 10 episode. Don't stretch things too big. If you don't have the idea, if you cannot back up what you want to do, don't overstate your welcome. Simple. Just don't do it, please. For your viewers' sake. Despite weak foundation made by past season, this season have a great ending. This time around, they suffered expectation well by letting the world end. The final episode was very emotional and endearing. Overall, this season is a 9 out of 10. Now, I don't know if I like season 1 or 4 more. I don't know, it's too far behind. But the bottom line, they are equals in my books. If I can't remember, I can't remember. Maybe that goes against the first season. Anyway, this year I've seen a few TV shows. I've seen a lot more movies and TV shows because, of course, 2 hours it's shorter than 5 hours. But I will say this year, this show is one of the best things just in 2024, because I've seen other TV shows from past years that were better, but For 2024 standard, that was a solid TV show I highly recommend. And I will be honest, TV shows are nowhere near as good as movies this year's. There were a lot of solid movies. I cannot tell the same about TV shows. It's the sad part. Anyway, what did you think of the Umbrella Academy if you have seen it? Let me know in the comments. Do all of the YouTube stuff. Like. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the Red Bull podcast or the Mainstream Movie Reviews podcast. My two main podcasts over here with 5 seasons, and the other one has only 1 season as I record this.